This is the beginning of the recording. Like I said, I'm gonna do a video right now and I'm just gonna answer to you all the questions that you post. Um, First of all, I love Jacques Fresco. He's probably one of the the first influence, the first biggest influence that I had about 15 years ago, and I love his thinking. He really influenced me. So I can explain how everything relates to uh, uh, resource-based economy, and I'm gonna try and answer some of your questions. And did note that I apologize for that, but a lot of things have changed from the stuff that you probably read on the website. So fundamentally, fundamentally, she and uh, every stakeholder, uh, by definition, anyone influenced um, by one's power. Uh, of his own will or merit, right? Um, is a stakeholder, and that includes Homo sapiens, and that's why I meant sapiens. The, the, the criteria um, for sapiens, and also sentient beings, like the animals. So the vision for stakeholder rights assigns um, um, rights to uh, sapiens and sentient beings, and and it's a bit different with the current universal. I mean, the United Nations declarations on human rights, and their implementation into different nation states, since um, since they are yes, some of them are absolute, um, but you need to see the result. Um, um, you need to see actually the result. So if you don't have access to justice, it doesn't matter if there is a universal declaration of human rights. And that is something that is quite important when we're talking about um, stakeholder rights. And actually, a resource-based economy is an economy that is like Jacques Fresco envisioned, uh, um, able to able to offer anything that is needed to 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 humans, to people. um, so there's a lot of things that you probably didn't see in the website, or in a presentation that I didn't share with you, and the information is incomplete. So I'm making this video just to clarify. Um, um, so I'm just gonna answer the questions straight. Um, you agree with my statement that I have my passion is for a quantum leap in social sciences, and that was an opening for a research paper a few years ago, which I found quite compelling, and in a sense that is an information-based society, um, or information information systems based, and essentially um, the idea of free association in psychology and association in biology um, um, comes down to from the kinship relationships, or how you associate the associations, all the way to the universal uh, association, so how you interact with the universe itself. And there's many layers, many spheres in between the kinship and the universal, and that is why um, um, intellectual property captures at the moment most of the value that we have in our society, and a lot of it is proprietary, and that is antithetical to the vision and the scope of the resource of Jacques Fresco and the Zeitgeist movement. So here are some questions. Consortio supports projects and creators that trust and rewards them with a stake in their assets. So essentially, when I said power, I meant power in social terms, and I define it as uh, as trust. So that's why we have democracy, because we have people that represent us, people that we give our faith to. We trust them essentially, and trust is measured in their ability to do what they're meant to do, their integrity to do what they're meant to do, and their benevolence, so that what they will do, it will have a positive impact. So that's that's how the stakehold works as a unit, which indeed, like you compare it, you can compare it. We can compare it to Facebook, for example. Right now, to log into Facebook, you need to accept the terms and conditions like any other website. So, indeed, logging into Consortio, the idea is that we're coming together, and the terms and conditions themselves are a social contract. And just by giving your legal consideration, your willingness to accept the terms and conditions makes you uh, a member of the association, a member partner. Um, so people that are more able, more um, they have they're integral towards their ethics and morals. um, um, get a boost essentially, like when they access the resources. I mean, they or they get to have a bigger weight on their vote, on their opinion. Um, technological. So the stake, the the membership means that the membership in the association means that the whole network actually is comprised of all the industries. So the first industry is the resource industry. So we're talking about when we're talking about resources, we're talking about water, food, energy, um, essentially. I would just rather focus on energy, and that is counting the thermochemical calories. Uh, how do we translate energy uh, from the resource um, um, industry? So all the producing assets, say the farms, the the energy, the utility companies that produce energy, everybody owns a stake in them just by virtue of giving their legal consideration uh, to the social contract. The social contract essentially is based on the vision of stakeholder rights. The vision of stakeholder rights is based on the idea that um, every sentient and sapient being is supposed it's necessary. I mean, it's necessary for its survival to have the necessary food. So nutrients from the calories, the water, um, and um, and of course um, 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 the energy industry. The energy is not only the food we eat, it's pretty much like the heating, even cooling takes energy. So um, um, and uh, and uh, anything that supports the infrastructure. So in the United States, a person consumes about 200,000, 250,000, 230,000 thermochemical calories per day. 230,000. That includes all the infrastructure that he uses. And the person in Africa or India consumes 20 and 30. In Europe, 150, etc. Um, the other industries other than the resource market is the communications market, which is measured in data in kilobits per second. So you have an information-based society or an information or a knowledge-based society, knowledge-based society more accurately, which we share the intellectual property as a common asset that is essential for resolving of many of the world's problems. Let's take say a pandemic as an example. You have several competing companies for producing the vaccine. In this hypothetical scenario, if the intellectual property was a shared asset, the vaccine creation would take a third of the time to be created, maybe less, and it would be more reliable, and people would actually trust to take it, because the intellectual property is something that that everyone that with the ability to analyze it would analyze it, and they would vote for a particular development to occur, to 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 resolve the problem, whatever that is, maybe climate change or conflict, like wars, and um, whatever the government um, uh, would make the government more stable and more peaceful, and that is part of the vision. So reducing systemic risk and social costs. Systemic risks is the billions that we suffer from say the pandemic, and social costs are the suffering and the deaths that we suffer, um, because uh, essentially we don't acknowledge the fact that we do share a universal intellect, and that is possible to create an intellectual property license, and which is based on trust, and that is fully transparent and um, and just in par with the technology that we have now, and the ability to adapt as an idea in itself, because it could be developed how people would want to. I hope that explains what a sophisticated manner is in advancement of our civilization. Um, the second quote is: a consortium is a platform for the world's democracies, network of stakeholders, public, private, in the civil society, partnerships built to support the world's most legitimate currency system. So you asked me about legitimacy. So the straightforward, the issue of legitimacy is consent, the agreement, um, the agreement basically in itself. So um, as you know, as we as it was mentioned before, we do have faith and belief, and that the most of the assets and of the big corporations are intangible. They're in the form of intellectual property. So when the when the when the central bank creates money, um, um, it's essentially you trust that particular institution uh, and supervisory authorities in either in international like IMF, another institutions that will um, have the right implement the right policies, uh, monetary or fiscal. So whether you agree with them or not, there is an issue of legitimacy and how they're backed, say by And how do you measure that trust that currency is essentially built on? Uh, that is what maybe a very simplified version of what. Baby, can you open the light? Of what I mean by when I say legitimate currency. It's it's backed by the assets, the technologies that support a sophisticated civilization, the intellectual property itself, and a basket of of economic utilities, like what is necessary for survival, like the calories, the information, transport, how many square meters is scientifically proven that is required for for a person's well-being, housing, and just by virtue of being a stakeholder, the intelligence and longevity services are like healthcare and analog would be like Google Assistant are offered for free, and the data is getting back into the system to reinforce that the currency is backed by uh, uh, that, and in a sense that the currency is based on the infrastructure itself, and the usage of that infrastructure. So you have technology, you have trust in the system and trust in the community itself. Um, that's what gives the status of legitimacy. In short, to effect a reduction in systemic risks and social cost by utilizing a model of beneficent power relations and achieve a cyber-physical symbiosis of. Okay, so this means, what essentially this means, there is three types of simplified relations, in relationships in an ecosystem. There is the mutualistic, when both organisms benefit from the association, from the relationship. And there is commensalistic, when one of them benefits, and there is parasitic, when one benefits at the expense of the other. So when I say a power um, uh, beneficial power relations, it means that the from the top down and the bottom up. So from our representatives and pragmatic interpretation of reality, political interpretation of reality based on power, um, and it would it and that is the second part of the something that it's based on this mathematics that uh, that it stems from biology again, and a political scholar Johannes Althusius. He's the intellectual father of federalism, and he wrote about consociational systems. But in biology, essentially, it's when you have many organisms, and they share power, within that ecosystem. So and with their purpose of surviving and it was necessary and for the purpose of enjoying uh, however they can enjoy um, associating with each other. So a symbiotic mutualistic association is basically one when from the interaction uh, the whole ecosystem eventually benefits. Um, um, that's what it means. That's what I wanted to say that what I wanted to say is that uh, maybe some abstract entities like corporations or nation states may exert asymmetric power. So it means that they have a parasitic effect on the ecosystem. So right now you can backtest that and prove that with mathematical equations, and you can also backtest and see natural persons or again any corporate voluntary um, entities or uh, in the different spheres of the association. Um, um, whether they whether the relationship is um, mutualistic or not. Okay, so it's about almost half an hour. I'm gonna go through a bit faster than on this. Um, the stakeholders have ownership, right? Because I don't want to bore you, but I'm really happy that I shared this with everyone that is watching, and I'm happy to do that again. The stakeholders have ownership rights by giving the legal consideration that wealth inequality caused by economic exclusion will be the scenario where a partner and a member of the stake. You can read it on the post. I don't know. It's on a quantum transition to resource-based economy, uh, and um, and money will be um, donated to build this project. Um, um, will 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 be held in the reserve. Um, um, and the question is, I would like to know more about the economy, what you propose, and what the connection does it have with the resource-based economy. Uh, I would like to know more about the economy that you propose and what I think I've gone through it like uh, before, and the connection with the resource-based economy. Well, a resource-based economy is uh, uh, um, um, like I said, the economic utility of resource itself as a physical function is measured in calories. So when every stakeholder is required a specific amount of energy per day, data, um, uh, he needs to travel a specific amount of what is essential and per day, a specific square meter of housing per day, um, um, uh, and and healthcare and free healthcare and longevity and intelligence services. So I think I explained that. So yeah, about said my dream is to develop fusion. And you mentioned that I'm getting a bit tired. And space travel and society without disease and age are achievable. Why do you think that he needs thermonuclear power? That is just something that I think is really cool. Um, um, Fusion energy, I think, is very critical to our development. Maybe you're confused when I say fusion, you think of something like the Tsar bomb, which is actually not fusion. I mean, it does fusion when it explodes, but that is a side effect of fission reaction, and fusion reaction produces enough energy in order to achieve fusion. But that's not the way to go about it. The the cool part would be if we're able to take water, which already has hydrogen inside, and 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 with enough probabilistic manipulation of the quantum field, break the Coulomb barrier, fuse the hydrogen atoms, and create energy. Uh, that would basically um, create we would have an infinite amount of energy, or we would have um, a lot of energy to produce whatever we need. And so I think energy is really important, and solving the problem for energy uh, doesn't necessarily mean that we would need to develop a fusion reactor, but I mean, the best we can do right now is solar panels, and that is taking energy indirectly from the sun. So I think we cannot live without thermonuclear power. Um, so um, um, so I'm reading a little bit about more things that I posted in the website, like, and yeah, Althusius, yeah, Althusius actually wrote about a universal fellowship and the idea of a union of societies, and that would greatly reduce conflict around the world, and because uh, um, um, by the way, when I said cyber physical, I meant like the abstract things like corporations and nation states. When I say physical, I mean like natural persons mostly, and maybe rainforests, or a group of organisms and all the animals. Um, so right now I'm at this stage. Um, I hope it was informative. Uh, like um, I'm basically the founder of this uh, brand, of this network of of this say uh, of I had the privilege to be inventive about something that already exists already existed, and modify it, and just from my own from my own um, worldview, and from my own experiences, take something that other people saw and other people felt and thought about, and make that relatable, uh, especially when it comes to symmetrical power relations and mutualism, because there's, I feel, a lot of trauma, and being able to prove that there is um, the knowledge right now to generate more trust in a society, and and have the faith in each other, and that that we can pull through this, and in a legitimate way, like uh, in a verifiable way, like you can verify this, and that's the whole point. Um, about the mRNA mutations, I think they are when you compare DNA mutations and mRNA mutations, mRNA mutations are of orders of magnitude um, bigger. I mean, they mutate much faster, and like I said, if we shared the the knowledge uh, um, between us, we would have solved this problem hypothetically, or in theory, um, while I mean um, sooner. We would have solved this problem in theory sooner. And yeah, so I'm happy that I got to share this with you. Um, Again, legal consideration is very important. It's what you agree with, and it means you are of sound mind and you can make contracts and agree with people, and that is a transcendent goal of free will and the ability to make a choice. So, and that's all that I'm gonna share right now. Um, um, and in regards to the wallet, I think uh, that is what I'm trying to do right now, open source, and it includes the identity. I mean your national identity or whatever, like your corporate identity. Again, if you go back to Althusius, you'll see that you have the kinship level of association, the corporate level of association, which just means translates to voluntary. Then there is the community level of association, the state level of association, and then the universal level of association. So you have one core identity into many different spheres. So in a sense, that's what um, a, a stakeholder um, uh, would need. I mean, to prove that he's part of the network, an identity card that is also, I mean, where he can store in a non-custodial manner his money. So he would be holding his physical bank in his hands. So thank you. I'm happy I'm gonna share this with you. I hope you like it and that you have more questions. Bye bye. And yeah, if you can help um, make it happen, uh, I would appreciate it. Bye bye.